In exercise 8-10, Future Tech is considering pricing options for its portable electronic storage device. Initially, what it wishes to do is to target the price at 30% over its full cost. Well, the full cost, as we know, would include both fixed and variable costs. And here we're given the total amount of fixed costs for the anticipated production of $210,000 of fixed costs. So this is going to be a total amount. And the variable costs are $15 per unit. So they're going to be sensitive to the units that would be produced and sold. So in option A, we're told that the units are going to be 60,000. So that means that our total variable cost will be $15 per unit multiplied by the 60,000 units, 900,000. We have our fixed cost, which were given before at 210,000. So our total cost will just be the sum of these two, or 1,110,000. So then what we have to do is, in order to put this on a per unit basis, we would have our total cost per unit. We would divide that 1,110,000 by the 60,000 units to give $18.50. So as we kind of take care of the spreadsheet a little bit here, so our total cost per unit would be $18.50. So then if we could do this in two steps, we can do the markup and then the price. So our markup then would be $18.50 multiplied by the 30%, or $5.55. So the price would be our total cost per unit plus the markup per unit. So our price is $24.05. So I could probably move this A down here. So then part B, we do the same sort of question, except now we're going to be dealing with 40,000 units. So, if I had, since it's one line, we could just go ahead and just multiply the $15 per unit by the $40. So we get 600,000. Our fixed cost is 210,000 as before. So then, copying this formula down, we end up with 810,000. So our total cost per unit, so notice here we can just copy this down as well, is 2025. So then our markup then becomes 2025 multiplied by the 30%, which is 608. So our price goes from 2405 to 2633. So what happened? Well, as it turns out, we reduced production by 20,000 units, and we end up having to charge a higher price. This is systemic whenever we have a non-trivial amount of fixed cost, and I'd say even here fixed costs are becoming more pronounced when we have over a third of variable costs or fixed costs in the second example of 40,000 units. So this is what the author talks about as this death spiral, is that if you treat price as a function of cost and you mark up the price, well then as you increase the price, you end up being able to sell fewer units, which in turn, and it goes from this 60,000 to 40,000 here, which in turn ends up you're moving up along the demand curve there by increasing your price over and over is that you're going to end up reducing the quantity that you'll sell. When you have fixed costs that are being included in the pricing mechanism, this ends up spreading the fixed costs over fewer units. Notice that the $15 variable cost is going to be included in both. As we go ahead, and we look at our formulas and we trace the dependence here, we see that the arrow goes to both 900,000 and 600,000. So this variable cost per unit, $15, is included in this per unit calculation here. But then, so this per unit then will be how much we're spreading the fixed cost over each unit. As we produce and sell more units, we're able to sell them at a lower reported or full cost. But again, this is, the cost itself isn't changing. It's just on a per unit basis that it's changing. So we have to be careful in these sort of circumstances, because as we see, we could end up pricing ourselves out of the market here and having to spread fixed costs over fewer and fewer units, which would drive up our prices and reduce the amount that we'd be able to sell.